Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to look at how to KO any Pokemon ever. You see, we're in a format at the moment where things are getting, well, a little bit out of hand, if I'm honest with you. You see, a while ago, we ended up with Wailord EX, a 250 HP behemoth. That, okay, it gave up 2 prizes, but it had 250 HP. And that led to some decks where they just go, right, I'm playing Max Potion and Ace Roller, and a bunch of other stuff. And you're not able to KO me, ha ha ha, this Wailord's never going down. And the goal of the deck was, you can't KO Wailord, so I'm just going to sit here until you deck out, and I win the game. But it didn't stop there. If we look now, we got Pokemon like Mewtwo and Mew, which has a fairly standard 270 HP, and that's not even that big for a Tag Team GX anymore. We've got stuff like Magikarp and Wailord coming in at 300 HP, which is kind of gigantic. Except we're now getting VMAXs and Pokemon V, and we end up with things like Zamazenta V, an ordinary everyday run-of-the-mill 2-prize Pokemon with 230 HP as a basic. And even if that seems a bit high, Zacian is seeing a huge amount of play, and that's got 220. And then we've got these VMAX Pokemon, where we can have a look at stuff like Stonejourner with 330 HP, but even that isn't as high as Snorlax with 340 HP. And a few people have come to me lately and said, Wassy, can we please have a roundup of the Pokemon that we can use to go and get a KO on all of these annoying high HP Pokemon, regardless of what their HP is? Well, that's a simple question and a not so simple question, so let me see if I can round that up for you right now. Let's start with a simple part of the question. Let's start off nice and easy. In the standard format, where the majority of tournaments are being played, it's not all of them, but the majority, most of the bigger ones at least, certainly all the internationals, worlds, etc. There are 2 cards that can always get a KO on anything. Any Pokemon, no restrictions, will be KO'd in the standard format by Yveltal GX and Beedrill. These are the 2 Pokemon that can guarantee a KO on anything. So starting off with Yveltal GX, now this isn't quite so easy because it's a GX attack, which means it is a one-shot deal. At one point during the game, you can get a KO on literally anything, but then that's your one GX attack used for the game. Having said that, use this to take free prizes, that's still going to give you a rather gigantic advantage. We're looking at Doomcount GX. If your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 4 damage counters on it, that Pokemon is knocked out. So you drop 4 damage counters onto a Pokemon, and you get an absolute guaranteed KO on anything. Cool. It is a GX attack, but it's also 1 energy on a basic, making it pretty techable. And we do have some options for this. So we have the Gengar, for instance, the one that came around in Unbroken Bonds. When you evolve up into that Gengar, you may put 6 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon GX and EX in any way that you like. Now obviously this is only going to help you against EX and GX Pokemon, but that includes tag teams, and that's the majority of the 2 and 3 prize Pokemon right now, so that's still going to be rather handy. If you want to extend this so that you can put the damage counters on anything, might I remind you that we are getting Galarian Obstagoon, yeah, it's literally called that, and Galarian Zigzagoon. Galarian Zigzagoon, when you play it to the bench, you get to drop 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon, it's Crobat G. And Obstagoon, when you evolve into it, you get to drop 3 damage counters onto one of your opponent's Pokemon, it's Crobat. So here, you've got essentially 1 Obstagoon plus 1 Zigzagoon, there's your 4 damage counters, there's your KO on absolutely anything. And this might be a good time to go, yes, I know I'm not giving you easy options here. I know I'm telling you you need to use stage 2s to drop damage counters and then use your once per game GX attack, but did you think there was going to be a Pokemon that could quickly and easily get a one-hit KO on anything? That would be the only viable Pokemon would completely break the game. We don't want that. We need to work for it a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen. So Yveltal's a pretty good option. I should mention we do have a couple of other things. You can use a combination of Roxy with Coughing and Wheezing. Roxy lets you discard up to 2 Pokemon from your hand, and then for each one discarded, you draw 3 cards. And then, of course, you got Coughing and Wheezing. If discarded with Roxy, drop 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Or you can just attack in the normal way. Maybe you use something like Wheezing, while also using Mew to drop 3 damage counters for an attack, as an example. There's a million different ways to get 4 damage counters on. The other option we've got is the Beedrill from Team Up, and its phenomenal attack, Destiny Stinger. And I'm still a little bit stunned we haven't seen more Beedrill lately, but I think it's fair to assume that now we got better Pokemon search with stuff like Quick Ball, this might be about to change. 1 Grass Energy, you can use this attack only if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it. Both active Pokemon are knocked out. Now, okay, you're knocking yourself out, but here we have a single energy, 1-hit KO on literally anything. Now, what you need to do here is play Rainbow Energy, because Rainbow Energy will drop a damage counter on you as well as paying the grass cost. So you attach a Rainbow Energy, and bearing in mind we've got Guzma and Hala now, making Rainbow Energy way easier to search out than it basically ever has been. And there's your KO on anything. Clearly here, against a single prize deck, this isn't going to work great. You get KO'd, they get KO'd, then it's their turn and they take a second KO. And things go badly. But against a VMAX or a Tag Team Pokemon where they're giving up 3 prizes and you're giving up 1, this is a good trade. And the other card we've had lately that really helps us out here is Clefairy, or Lily's Pokédoll as it's actually called. Because you see, this can sit in the active, but doesn't give up a prize. So now you can KO your opponent's active, Beedrill goes down, they get a prize. You then whack Lily's Pokédoll in the active, and it might be their turn and they might get the next attack, but they're going to need to play something like a custom catcher to grab one of your Pokemon off the bench, or else they're not going to be able to take a prize, and you're actually swapping 1 for free rather than 2 to 3. And they're your 2 options. If you want unmitigated 1-hit KO on literally anything regardless of HP, these are your 2 Pokemon. They are your 2 options. Now we have a couple of others. One that I really like here is Rampardos. Now Rampardos isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. 3 Fighting Energy, Wild Crash. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a basic, it is knocked out. A straightaway 1-hit KO on any basic Pokemon. Now, when we remember that all Pokemon V are basic, though VMAX are evolution Pokemon, that's very important. And we remember that all tag teams are basics. This won't get VMAX, and it won't necessarily get all GXs, but it will get all Vs and it will get all tag teams, so this seems kind of cool for me. And of course, we've got Pokemon Research Lab now, which makes it easier to get it out. We've got Karate Belt. If you're behind on prizes, it becomes a 2 energy attack. People are using this and seeing a bit of play and a bit of love. Now, if you're only worried about taking out an Ultra Beast, we do actually have 2 really nice examples, although they're basically the same. The second Silvally GX, the one from Cosmic Eclipse, as a GX attack for 2 colorless energy, lets you get an instant KO on any Ultra Beast Pokemon. And then Alolan Ninetales for 1 fairy, 1 colorless, gets a 1-hit KO straight away on any Ultra Beast Pokemon. One of the really cool things about Alolan Ninetales, when you evolve up into it, you get to search for any 2 item cards. So if you're behind on prizes, you can search Counter Gain and Energy Spinner, and that will actually mean that you've got everything you need right there. So even if you're not playing an Alolan Ninetales deck, if you play 1 Counter Gain, 1 Fairy Energy, 1 Energy Spinner, assuming none of them get prized, this will help you out to get that KO whenever you need it. Now, we do have a couple of examples in the expanded format, which can also be pretty good for KOing whatever you like. One of them here is Darkrai GX. Now, this is one that a lot of people played around with, though it did fall off towards the end. Darkrai GX has the rather amazing attack, the GX attack, Dead End GX. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, that Pokemon is knocked out. Except in the expanded format, we got Hypnotoxic Laser. As soon as you play it, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, so you are going to get a special condition and you are going to get the KO pretty gosh darned easily. Then remember that you've got stuff like Dark Patch and Max Elixir to accelerate energy, as well as the fact that your ability lets you put it from the discard pile onto the bench with an energy from the discard pile already attached, and you're like, yeah, okay, this works quite nicely. We can roll with this. It is a really nice attack and it is a really nice option. But we've also got a Gengar that we can use. Creepshow Gengar came around in Breakthrough but was also there in Generations. And it's got the Creepshow attack, 1 Psychic, 1 Colorless Energy. If your opponent's active Pokemon has 3 or more damage counters on it, that Pokemon is knocked out. Now, the 3 or more makes it easier than something like Evil Tower, which is exactly 4. And being a Psychic Pokemon in Expanded means you can use Dimension Valley to reduce the attack cost to just 1 Psychic Energy. And it's a Stage 2 and it's awkward to get rolling, though the combo with the other one from Unbroken Bonds is undeniable. But if you can get this rolling again, you've got a one-hit KO on anything you need. And I mentioned Beedrill earlier. Well, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go back to the Beedrill well. That's a well a bunch of people wouldn't want to get into. Now, it's not an easy one, this one. It's a bit of a pain. 1 Grass Energy. During your next turn, if the defending Pokemon is damaged by an attack, it's knocked out. So it's not just an instant KO on anything. You're setting them up so that next time you can KO them, though you can do something really cool like put a Persimmon active, as an example, and then draw a couple of cards while doing some damage, and that damage will be enough to get a KO. So find an attack that draws cards or does something else you want while doing damage, and you'll get the KO. The problem is, if your opponent switches their active Pokemon, then Allergic Shock won't actually work, so as much as I like it and as fun as it is and as much as I wanted to mention it, I don't think we can really take it that seriously as an option. And finally, just a quick shout out to the Haxorus that came around in Plasma Blast. It's old now, but it's still legal in the expanded format, which means I totally get to talk about it if I want to. And I want to. What it does for 1 fighting, 1 metal energy. If the defending Pokemon is a Team Plasma Pokemon, instant KO. Now, Team Plasma used to be incredibly relevant. Things like Thundurus and Deoxys and Kyurem, they were great cards. It really was the kind of deck that was just completely crushing the format, and then it went away, and it's not even really viable and expanded anymore. So you're not actually going to play this Haxorus, but while we're talking about Pokemon that get instant KOs and easy KOs and can one-hit KO anything or anything within a particular umbrella, had to be mentioned, didn't it, ladies and gentlemen? It had to be mentioned. So there we go. Pokemon that can KO absolutely anything. Our options are not infinite, and they're not always the easiest ones to use, but again, we're talking about getting a KO on anything. It's going to have to be something we work for, otherwise it would literally break the game, and it would stop anything being any fun. So let's not do that, shall we? For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know if you've used any of these Pokemon. I want to know some of your memories of these Pokemon. I'd like to know what kind of instant KO attack you'd like to see on a new Pokemon in the future. Go nuts in the comment section, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.